Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about how you can apply texture maps that you've created in Surface Painter into your model in Maya. Now there's two different things to consider here about what we're doing or why we're doing it. So the whole reason I texture maps to your model in Maya would really be on your model predicted, see what kind of stretching that might occur with the textures that are applied to the character when maybe that character is moving or in a dynamic pose. So usually this is something that I do, but it is not required because what you will be doing is rendering your characters within Unreal Engine 5. So in that case, the texture maps need to be applied to the material within that software, and then that material gets applied to your texture sets. So firstly, I'm going to talk about a couple of things in Substance Painter in terms of how to export out the file. So within Substance Painter, you can see the character is fully textured, and things that we definitely want to get from our textures are going to be the base color, um, our roughness, our metal, and our ambient occlusion. Now, in order to get a file and export textures, okay. Now, I'm going to just search for this option called Unleashing for Pact. Now, there are several templates here, and you will find one for Arnold Renderer, which is what Maya uses to as renderer. Uh, so, just to explain, different texture maps will be used for different renderers, and in the case of Arnold, it can't really use some of the textures that we might export out using Unreal Engine 4 Pact. Um, which is fine though, because in this way we're simply doing it just to get the bare minimum textures applied to our character so we can visually see it. But realistically, when we want to texture our character or apply the textures in render, it will be in Unreal. So we're just going to go with the Unreal Engine 4 Pact texture, uh, and find a location for that. I'll just go ahead and put it on the desktop. So right here, my source images folder. I'll just make a new this and name it UE4 or 4. So now that we have that, we're gonna out the textures. Right. I think I did that. Oh, it worked. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So we now have base color, our normal, and another texture which packs together our occlusion, roughness, and metallic map. Now, these two are going to be compatible. The base color and the normal map are compatible with Maya, but this one we have to kind of omit for now, but that's fine. We don't need to render roughness and metalness and ambient occlusion. It's just nice to see the color and the normal maps applied though. So I'm going to show you how to set these up, okay? What we're going to do here, you can see that we have our two texture sets, texture set 1, texture set 2. Of course, I just changed the color so you can see the distinction between what we have here in terms of like what the texture sets apply to in terms of like UV shell space. So with the torso, the head, the mask, and the boots, that's texture set number 2. Texture set number 1 is the arms and the leg. Okay. So now that we have that, uh, what we're going to do here is um, select our character, go to the texture set. I'll just start with 1, and then click on the checker pattern to the right of the color channel, okay? And basically this is where we need to drop in our texture maps. So if we want the color texture, we need to see the color channel, click on the checker pattern, and then this pop up right over here, okay? With this menu, now we have the folder, click on the folder, and now we just need to find the location where we save that file. So I saved it right here, and then now we can click on the base color and then open. Okay, so you won't immediately see the textures applied to the character until you turn on the textured icon on the viewport, or we can hit 6 on the keyboard. Now that's enabled, now you can see the textures applied. Now we need the normal map as well. So we're going to click on the character again. We're going to make sure we're on the tab, the correct tab, and then under bump mapping, click on the checker pattern. This is where our normal map goes. There are a couple of steps that we need to do in order for this. We click on the checker pattern, then we can click on File. Then in this next menu, it's going to say Use as Bump. So traditionally in Maya, there are different types of normal maps that you can apply. A bump map is kind of an old method of normals that we don't really use anymore. We need to switch this to tangent space normal. Your normal maps won't look correct when applied. Then now we can click on the black arrow to continue to the next tab. Then within this tab, what we're going to do is change we're going to add in the normal map. So click on the folder, find where it's saved. I'm going to go to Maya projects here. Source image is Unreal Engine 4 Packed, and then we find the normal right here, and then open. So the normals right now will still not be rendering correctly, but the last thing you need to do is right here where it says color space, change that to raw. So you click on where it says sRGB, and then click on utility, click on raw, and then it should be rendering correctly within your viewport, and that's how you apply it. If you find, now it's a bit glossy here, and that's because the material that I'm using right now is actually a blend, which is fine. But if you wanted to reduce that, you can find the eccentricity settings here. So if I just change the eccentricity or the specular roll-off, it's going to be less glossy. Now that we've done that, I'm going to do it a little bit quicker for the other texture set. So click on the character again, go to the texture set 02. So where it says color, click on the checker pattern or file, click on the folder, and then find where the texture is. And there we go, so that's the color. Click back again, go to the bump mapping, click on the checker pattern, file, change use as to tangent space normal, click on the black arrow, click on the folder, we can go and find the normal map. And now change the color space, utility, raw, and then there we go. And I'm going to get the values that I use for the specular roll off by copying that number and then pasting it. Successfully set up your texture maps to your character. Now again, this is something you're going to have to do anyway in Unreal. I'm going to explain in the lesson, and then that will be recorded. But if you want to at least get your textures within Maya, this is how you go about doing it. And again, we were not able to use this this collection of textures because this is for Unreal. So sorry, we were not able to use these two texture maps here. Now just to end it, I'm going to show you what it looks like if you were to export out the other texture maps. So if I just load this file again, this is kind of what it looks like if you were to use the of the textures. So the bump map, the specular, the roughness maps, and everything like that. In order to do that, to go to File, Export Textures, and then use this one called AI Standard, Arnold Standard. Okay, and base color, the metalness, the normal, the roughness, um, and I think it should give the ambient occlusion as well. Although you might need to, it's something that you don't need either. Let me see if I go to Maya. And then also feel free to, add in any textures that you might want to this if it doesn't come with it automatically. So if I wanted to get the ambient occlusion from here, I can use the create a gray channel. I'll just copy this naming convention, and then I'll name this AO. And then what I need to do is just find ambient occlusion, which is right here. Ambient occlusion mesh maps. So then we can just plug this in here, and then now it's going to export out the ambient occlusion along with it. Now, if you've done that, the type of textures that you should get will be a lot more than this because it will separate the occlusion, roughness, and metalness. So if you look under, sorry, I have, these are what it looks like if you were to export out. Um, So this is just more work to do. So I just advise that you just use Unreal Engine 4 Packed and only use the base color, the normal, so that you don't have to work with the roughness, metalness, and ambient occlusion separately. That's it. Hope that was helpful and on in the class.